This gal.
Holy man, got your name on it. It's in the
No, it doesn't. Oh, that's too nice. All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to this special meeting of the City Council of Fort Walton Beach, Florida. Thank you all very much for being with us. Kind of a strange schedule here tonight as we have a special meeting that'll take maybe a few minutes, potentially a little bit longer, we'll find out. And then we'll move on to our regular meeting. So if you're able to, please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, and now council will need approval of this agenda, please.
Move to approve.
Approval, motion forward by Councilman Jeter, seconded by Councilman Schmidt. Any additional comments? Councilman Walker?
This might be the time to do it, but I was just thinking back about the years previous when we've done this, and I thought tonight would be similar, but it seems like, and correct me if I'm wrong, because we were all here, we had this initial meeting was to establish, quote, the maximum, and then a future meeting was to establish either, the current rate, the rollback rate, or a reduction in the millage rate. I don't see a setting a maximum here. What happened to that process?
I believe you are
In
correct.
4.1.2, it states that.
4.142, 4.1.
As a reminder, the rates set at this meeting are the maximum allowable rates that can be adopted by the city for fiscal year 25-26.
I'm not seeing it, Nicole. Let me see. Recommend city.
It's under the recommendations, 4.1.2.
Packet page 3, Mr. Walker.
Okay, 4 points. Okay, I got you.
Does that answer your question, sir?
It does. Thank you.
Perfect. All right, anyone else? Seeing none, please vote on approval of the agenda, council.
Mayor, the only thing I would say, the agenda didn't have a public comment section, so just before when y'all actually make your motion to whether or not to accept that proposed millage rate, just make sure to do public comment.
You got it. Thank you, Mr. Burns. All right, so that brings us to item 4.1, setting the proposed fiscal year 2025-2026 millage rate. We'll move on to Mr. Davis or Mr. Neighbors? Or Ms. Neighbors, I'm sorry. Good Lord.
He's like, go ahead. So this year, as you see in the staff report, our projected increase of the property values is about 9.71%, and this is always a mouthful, which is a $213,640,324 increase, which will bring it to $2,413,886,318, which was determined on June 9th by the property appraiser. We don't set that, the property appraiser does. What we're trying to do is keep the millage rate steady as we had done it last year at 4.3282. This would anticipate a 10.16% increase in total, which is $764,000. In the general fund, that would be a 7.48% or $764,000 in ad valorem in the general fund, and a 7.48% increase or $115,000 increase in the CRA fund. And just as an FYI, we found another TIF that we had from 2019, so we added 102 parcels and a new TIF in the CRA. So that's what's generating a little bit extra revenue in the CRA. We have to hold our meetings in line with the school board and also with Okaloosa County. So the school board's meeting is on July 28th, 2025, and Okaloosa County is on September 4th, 2025. So the recommendation for us as staff is to keep the millage rate at 4.3282 and not raise it and set that as the max millage.
Thank you, Ms. Neighbors. Questions for Ms. Neighbors, Mr. Davis, or anyone else from the council? Mr. Walker.
So you had mentioned, as we've done last year and the year previous, and they all kind of run together, we did what's called the rollback rate, correct?
Correct, for the last 2 years.
So the rollback rate keeps the revenue to the city the same as it was the year previous from property taxes?
That's correct.
Okay. And just, I guess, while I've got your attention, so now with Governor DeSantis coming out and pushing publicly to abolish property taxes, what is your department and
Well, I think that failed, so. in the House.
new push out today, saw it.
Oh, so I did not-
Just curious, are any contingency planning on finances staff to
No.
anticipate that?
Not as of yet. We are planning for the one to do the additional homestead, which could, potentially the city could lose some big revenue on that one.
So just so that I'm clear and the public's clear, with maintaining the existing millage rate, a homeowner, their property value goes up as assessed by the property appraiser. And while the millage rate, quote, remains the same, their property taxes go up. Is that correct?
That's correct. So as I do every year, I kind of base it on a $100,000 taxable value to kind of get what everybody it would have to pay extra. So a non-homesteaded house on a $100,000 taxable value would pay an extra $27.39 a year. And a homesteaded house would pay an extra $13.70 a year, where the city would lose $524,000 in the general fund, and the CRA about $104,000.
Thank you. So 100,000 was 27, so 300,000 is about $75
per year.
per year. And that's not, I mean, a non-homesteaded property, an investment property, which is not capped at 3% increase in values, it could go up 10% for a rental property, for example, right?
That's correct.
Okay, because I've been getting calls from some of my landlords, and when it's time for renewal of the leases, two things they say to me: raise the rent, my taxes have gone up and my insurance is going up. So I'm interested in helping tenants and landlords from having to pass on these property taxes to their tenants through increased rent amounts. So I'm not, I mean, I'm maybe one of only, but I'm interested in moving towards a rollback and or actual reduction in the millage rate. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else with questions? Councilman Schmidt.
What would the rollback rate be?
It would be, so right now we're at 4.3282, and it would go to 4.0543.
Thank you.
Anyone else with questions? Mr. Jeter.
Tonight, we are just setting the maximum.
That's correct.
We're going to have 2 more meetings on this.
Council can have discussions on what they would like to do with the millage.
Got it.
Anyone else with questions? All right. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this before we make a motion? Former Councilman Smith.
That was Jared Leo. What the heck?
That was last meeting.
Travis Smith, 359 Kevin Drive. Being a part of this process and kind of experiencing it, I would recommend that if you're going to roll the rate back, just do it now. Because my experience in this process has been, if you set it at the maximum, staff's going to budget for the maximum, and when you get to the meetings where you got to make the discussions, everybody's freaking out how to cut it to get it back to the rollback rate. So I don't really have an opinion on which one you do either way. I would just say that if you're going to cut it now, and if you're not, then leave it at what it is. That'd be my recommendation.
Can I make a comment?
Thank you, sir. Yes, Ms.
In
Nichols.
August or any of those meetings, we can roll it back before that last September meeting that the prior 2 years that we had to do.
I'll just add real quick too.
Sure.
Historically, what I've done is taken that max, built the budget out, then I'll have a couple of different flavors for you to pick from with lower millage, lower the millage 5 years in a row. But at that point, the council's gonna tell me what projects we're cutting, what departments we're cutting, et cetera. So you'll have some flavors to pick from.
Thank you, sir. Questions, Mr. Walker?
Follow up on that, that sounds like a great idea. Just want to make sure I'm clear. So, because I think we'd kind of bumped around that idea previously, and it was do a budget, staff prepare budgets at the maximum, and then obviously one of the quick and easy down and dirties is the rollback rate.
Yeah.
Would you have both of those working at the same time, staff working on
Probably a
both?
couple different flavors, something in the middle as well.
Okay.
Again, because I'm a taxpayer too, right?
Sure.
So I want to pay as little taxes as I want, as I have to get by. That being said, the best example I can give you is it saved each one of my taxpayers in St. Lucie County about $100 over the 5 years, right? It would have been $32 million to the county to fix roads and stuff like that. So that's why I want the council to pick the poison on in terms of where we cut. Then you can pick which roads we cut out, which programs we cut out, that sort of thing. But then we can go forth and conquer from there.
Which reminds me, thank you, and it was a question I was going to have for Nicole. If it's on there and available, I actually tried pulling it up by my phone. It was a little wonky or whatever, but just curious. I know that staff and property appraiser and everybody tries to do the best they can on estimating on revenue. And so the budget estimates what is the last budget expected revenue from the property tax. Do you know about, is it 9 million? Is it?
Do you have that?
All right, it is in total citywide, without going to the rollback rate, would be $9,925,393, which $8,280,673 would go to the general fund, and $1,644,721 would go to the CRA fund.
Right, and so the question that I'm going to ask, and I don't expect you to know it now, but if we could get it to follow up. So what I'm looking for, I know there's an estimated expected revenue from property taxes, and this last one was with 9.9. Was that what you said? Was that the number? 9.9 isn't change. I think it was. But the point is, the question is, I want that number, both the budgeted and actual for the last 3 budgets. Can I find that on our website or through the app? Can I
Yeah,
see
when you
what that
download
is?
those financials, that I think I sent them to you once, so you have the budgeted, and then it'll give you the actual of what revenue we've actually brought in.
Okay. Is it generally your recollection that the expected and the actual are different?
I mean, I have to go back
Okay,
and look.
that's okay.
whatever.
Okay, thank you. That, I would like to know those. If I can't find it, I'll
Yeah, if you
shoot
can't,
you an
just shoot me an email.
Thank you.
All right, council, you have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the maximum millage rate for the fiscal year 25-26 budget at 4.3282 mils, which is the current millage rate.
Second.
A motion made by Councilman Jeter and seconded by Councilman Browning to set the maximum millage rate at 4.3282 mils. Additional comments, Mr. Jeter?
Yeah, I've enjoyed all the discussion tonight. Again, this is just setting the maximum rate. We're going to have many, many months of additional discussion about this topic. I certainly agree with our new city manager, Mr. Davis, saying we'll have different flavors, different options to choose from. This is just the max. We have rolled it back 2 or 3 years in a row, and it does scare me to eventually to continue to roll back, and then if property values eventually get rolled back, we're going to put the current council, should some still be up here, or a future council, in a tough position because it's a lot harder to raise the millage rate than anyone understands. So,
Thank you, sir.
holding where we are.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Anyone wish to speak against the motion?
I would, Mr. Allegretto.
Councilman Jeter?
Yeah, I got some good feedback from finance as well last year. And from a planning perspective, if we're going to shoot or give them some direction on which direction to go, I'd like to start the budget process by not supporting this motion because I'm in support of the rollback rate at that 4.0.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wish to speak in favor of the motion?
I'll join Mr. Schmidt in that. Well,
Fair enough.
thank you. And in the years past, I think it's a great time to do it now, to maximize it out there and then come back and look at those different flavors. And along those lines, Mr. Davis, I don't know if I've ever seen a budget presented where there's an actual reduction in the amount of revenue to the city from the property tax. We can always estimate more, right, as typically happens, or keep it stable at the rollback rate, but there's actually, budgeting for less than what the rollback rate is. I'd like to see that flavor.
So yes, is the answer.
So I won't be supporting this motion, but I would like to see it happen now.
Gotcha. Anyone else wish to speak on this? Seeing none, council, please vote. And it is a tie, 3-3, which means the mayor breaks the tie, and I vote yes. All right, that adjourns this special meeting.
There's a second motion.
I'm sorry?
There's a second motion to set the dates. Y'all could actually do that.
My
Yeah,
bad.
the dates for the meetings
Fair
in
enough.
September.
I move to set the dates and times of the public hearings for the millage and budget Tuesday, September 9th, 2025 at 6 PM, Tuesday, September 23rd at 6 PM.
Motion made by Councilman Jeter, I believe, seconded by Councilman Schmidt to set the dates. Any additional comments?
No, sir.
Anyone?
Looking forward to the budget process.
Fantastic. Council, please vote. That motion does carry 6-0. We will now adjourn briefly and reconvene with our regular meeting.